I'm Anynewprovince, and is this possibly Pauper Playable? That's the question I want to answer about Paladin of the Bloodstained, Legion Conquistador, and Bishop Soldier. These are all new vampires we got out of the set Ixilan. The most interesting for me was Legion Conquistador because he does a really good Squadron Hawk impression. He's going to enter the battlefield and go search up 3 of his friends. We're going to try to sacrifice these 3 friends to Viscera Seers to get some scry triggers and to get a little bit of extra value off our aristocrat, Falconwrath Noble. The rest of the deck goes like this. There's 4 Tragic Slips, which is kind of a mainstay removal spell in aristocrats decks. We can usually make something die when we need it to, so that this gives something -13, -13. We also have Journey to Nowhere and Chainer's Edict as just kind of standard removal in white and black. They kind of fill out the rest of the interaction in the deck. We have Viscera Seer as our main sacrifice outlet. I chose this over Carrion Feeder or Bloodthrone Vampire because I think the scry is probably a little bit more important than the pump effects you get off those other 2 creatures. We have 2 Bone Splitters. These go really great with Bishop Soldiers. If you can get it down on turn 3 and equip it, it's attacking for 4 and getting an 8-point life swing, maybe getting us that little extra time we need to do some janky stuff with Legion Conquistadors. We have 1 Bloodthrone Vampire kind of rounding out our sack outlet package. I brought the 5th one in because I wanted to make sure we had a sack outlet whenever we needed it to trigger our Tragic Slips or to get a little bit of extra life off of Falconwrath Noble. We have the Tithe Drinkers. Their extort ability can also be triggered off of those extra Legion Conquistador copies, and it can kind of get a bit of extra value if we're casting 1 mana Tragic Slips or Viscera Seers in the late game. We also have the 4 Conquistadors that I mentioned earlier. We have 1 Paladin of the Bloodstained. This is just a value 4-drop creature. If we can get this down and get a lifelink creature, we might eke out that little bit of extra advantage we're looking for. Hopefully this performs a bit better than other token producers at this mana cost. I guess we'll find out. We also have 2 Battle Screeches, just another way to get some more bodies onto the battlefield to sacrifice, and we can even tap these 3 other Legion Conquistadors to flash it back out of our graveyard. That's pretty great. These 3 Falconwrath Nobles round out our curve at the top, and they're draining. They're being an aristocrat, and they're also being an evasive flyer. Let's take a look at the mana base. We have 4 Ash Barons. These are just good mana fixing. I have them in here over Evolving Wilds, and I've been doing that a lot lately. I just really like being able to play them on turn 2 and get up to 2 mana, start casting my more expensive spells. We have 2 Baron Moors, cycling lands that we can use to find some more cards if we're mana flooding. We have 2 Orzhov Basilicas. These can be used to bounce some of these lands that we may want back in our hand later in a game if we have to play them early. We have 4 Scoured Barons, speaking of bounce targets. These are just your standard Pauper duels, going to gain you a little bit of life and fix your mana. We have 5 Plains and 6 Swamps rounding at the mana base, a little heavier on black mana because we have a few turn 1 plays we might want to make with Swamps. Let's take a look at the sideboard. We have Circle of Protection greens, 2 of them, for those really quick aggressive stompy draws with a Burning Tree Emissaries and Quirion Rangers and all that scary stuff. We have a Circle of Protection red to fight against burn or maybe fling combo, maybe an Is It Blitz deck. We have a Prismatic Strands. This helps against any card of a single color that's going to be trying to do a lot of damage all at once. We have another Battle Screech. This is for those real grindy matchups or if someone's trying to get us to discard a lot of cards. We have 2 more Chainer's Edicts. This is for when we play against Boggles decks or decks that are really light on threats. It'll help us kind of cut down their board and let us go wide a little more effectively. We have 2 Contaminated Grounds to hate out our opponent's mana, maybe if they're being a little greedy in 3 colors or if they're trying to resemble Urzatron. We have 1 Shrivel, for those pesky tokens, just in case we want to kill all of them before an infinite mana combo deck gets rid of its summoning sickness. We have 1 Evankar's Justice. This is for when decks are going wider than us and we just need a big sweeper really badly. It does a pretty good impression of a big sweeper, but it's not always ideal. We have 2 Castigates. This is to get combo pieces out of our opponent's hand, but it also really helps in decks that have enchantments like Pestilence that we can't easily deal with. We also have 2 Relic of Progenituses, and this is going to try to get our opponent off any early game delve value. So that's the deck. We are taking it live at 9 p.m. Atlantic time on twitch.tv/Anynewprovince. We're just going to jam in a league and see what happens. And stay tuned if you want to see a couple of matches with this deck as we play to try to test it out. If you have any suggestions on how we should rebuild the deck before tomorrow night, make sure to leave them in the comments below, and maybe we can fit some of those in there. So tune into Twitch or like and subscribe here for a bit more content. If you enjoy possibly Pauper Playable, that'll help me get just a little bit closer to the top of YouTube where some more Pauper players can see me. So thanks for listening, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow night.